Feel free to say hello in the chat box. Who's here? Quick sound check. Can you hear me? Hey, Laura. It's good to see you. I say, can you hear me? Because there was, I remember, I don't know if it was last session or a couple sessions ago, I started talking and it was like, nobody could hear me. Kevin, you cannot. Perhaps refresh. I say that because Lars is able to hear and see me. Hi, Sam. Good to see you. Let me just paste the doc, paste the box, paste the doc. I've been thinking about college essays all day. I got up at 6:30 and went across town. And I think I had maybe 4 sessions today, but really good, like productive sessions, but it's, my brain is like, but I had a good break just now for an hour and I'm feeling refreshed. All right. I hope we get some good drafts. I'm hoping you guys have some drafts to work on, and we can work on anything you want. Okay. This is like 2-hour office hours open session. We can focus on anything you want, from personal statement to any supplements to activities lists to additional info. If you are following along, on the course in terms of like the do this and that and that, I'll just share my doc with you for a second. Actually, before we do that, before we jump into sort of logistics and stuff, let's just do a check-in. How does it feel to be you right now? That's my check-in question. How does it feel to be you right now? Feel free to use the feelings and needs exercise. Just a college essay this up. What's up, Ishan? And what is your need that is or isn't being fulfilled? Feelings and needs check-in. Boo. Sorry. If you're just joining us, welcome. What does it feel like to be you right now? And what need is or isn't being fulfilled right now? My feeling is I feel a little bit tired. I have a need for rest. I'm feeling a little bit like wacky because my need for like connection has been met in like a really lovely way in the last hour. I had a great conversation with a friend of mine. Ishan, cool. A way to shorten my essay for other schools. Post it on the doc. We'll do it. I love it. That's great. I'm glad that means you've written an essay. For others, if you feel like writing, feel free. Stressful. What is up, Lars? What's your need? What would make you feel less stressed? I'm not saying that I'm going to achieve this for you, but I'm just curious. What do you feel like would make you less stressed? Sam's got a deep need for snack. I know that need. I might get a snack at some point. I'm going to eat dinner after this, so maybe not. Okay, so here's the doc. I'll stop riffing. 40-hour days. Oh my gosh. That sounds horrible. All right, so these are the live sessions that we're doing. We're doing today, we're doing Wednesday, we're doing Friday. Today, technically the theme is brainstorming and big picture. And hopefully I'd love to help somebody if you want to talk big picture, if you want to like go through your essay tracker and like brainstorm what topics should go where, I'd love to do that with you. And in terms of the, thank you for saying edit. Matt, what's up? Good to see you. Glad to have you. Stressed because I've got a lot of things to do and not enough time / motivation / direction to do them. I can help you with 1.5 of those. I can't help you with the time one. I can help you with the direction one. And I think when I help you with the direction one, I think that's going to have an effect on the motivation one. But I can't help you with the time one. I haven't figured out how to bend time yet. Next course. All right. So today, technically, what I requested in terms of the progression of the course is to watch the overview and brainstorming videos. You don't need to worry about those because you've done all the brainstorming videos. The main ones are the super essay and the BBS exercise. Now, some of you will have already mapped out the big picture with me, like, Lars, we chatted yesterday. Sam, we've chatted. Matt, Sean, we haven't chatted yet about like, what is the big picture? So that's something that we could do today if you want, and part of that would just involve, if you want to do that, map out big picture, let me know. And what that means is like mapping out where your topics go. The review of the homework, just briefly. And by the way, for next session, I would love it if you guys have watched these activities list, additional info on the Why Us videos, if you haven't already, because those are kind of like the core of like, I'd say like the most important content. In fact, in both courses, module 2, I think is the most important content. What's up, Gavin? Good to see you. I'll just reshare the doc, the link. We've got a nice crowd today. It's good. All right. And then the syllabus for the week applies to people who are on the larger sessions of the course. So the review of the homework, and again, you've done all this stuff, or most of you have, the activities list, additional info, all these exercises. The ones you may or may not have done yet is the BBS exercise and the super essay. So I would love it if anybody's written a super essay draft, and that means you've already watched that video and have worked through this, but it's basically you've completed the BBs and you've written an essay that could work for different topics. It sounds like, Sean, you may have started one, which is exciting. And then if you got general Q&A, like question Q&As about your application and supplemental essays, go here. If you've got a sample essay, as I think Sean does, or no, who typed this? Maybe give me a name at the top, if you would, please. Okay. Cool. I like this. I kind of like where this is going. I don't know. I'm just seeing Hanuman and Sean. Awesome. Sweet. Okay. So I kind of want to, actually, before I jump right in, I want to ask you guys, give me a question or 2 questions that you have about your application and supplemental essays and put them here, because I would love for these to be here and ready. Because other people probably have these questions, and then I'm going to jump into, the sample essay from Ishan. So what do you got? What questions do you have about your application? And then please load this doc with sample essays. That's what this is for. Pausing for questions. Type them here. I'll stop annoying you. Okay, Anteater's got one. Cool. And then sample essays go here. I get to the realization quick. I don't want the reader to get an impression that I found the solution instantly. I wanted to shorten this for Stanford Yale. And Ishan, is this you? Which is 250 words. I was trying to figure out a way to go about it because I think the culture is is a cool point to talk about. Yeah, for sure. I don't want the reader to get an impression I found the solution instantly. Okay. Cool. I want to shorten this for Stanford and Yale. Yale, which Yale prompt? I know which Stanford prompt you're talking about. Which Stanford prompt? Which Yale prompt? Okay. Probably for Yale. For Stanford, it's probably what is meaningful to you, I'm guessing. Okay. Keep going, Sam. What's your question? Great. I think the answer is yes already. It's still okay to do it. I think visual is going to be key for you. Yeah, but it may not be Cannon Beach. I would say try Pacific Northwest. I think one of the coolest things that I found we talked about this yesterday, Sam, or whenever it was, is the contrast between nature and your connection to that and the city. So it's like an opportunity in your essay to talk about how both of those communities have impacted you. The natural community versus urban community, urban environment. Well, it's community. I don't know that the family reunions, this is like, family is going to be more common on its own, unless you can connect to nature too. For Yale says, one is, what do you enjoy learning? Write an essay of your choice. But I think I could use this format for all three. Stanford, what's important to you? Yeah, okay, got it. Thanks. Okay, that helps me. Okay, guys, to keep typing, and Sam, keep going. Like, what is your response to that and thought? If you've got more specifics, I want to help you crack that. So for anybody, and Sam's wrestling with a statement through our essay. What are you going to be for Halloween? Asked every second grade classmate of mine to one another. Their faces gleamed with excitement and wonder to the possibilities of what they can be for an entire night. And by the way, the prompt is, culture is what presents us with the kinds of valuable things that can fill a life. And insofar as we can recognize the value in those things and we make them part of our lives are meaningful. So it's about culture and it being, the valuable artifacts and aspects of culture that fill our lives. Cool. However, I didn't need to go through the hassle of figuring out who I wanted to be. I knew exactly what I was going to dress up as. Hanuman. Great. I love this. It's unexpected. Love it. And because not everyone knows who Hanuman is, you explain it, which I love. The god of strength, vanquisher of evil, king of the monkeys, the man who can tower mountains. Do you mean topple mountains? This was the man who defeated, and is it a man? Is it a man? My understanding is that Hanuman isn't totally a man. Is this true? Maybe I'm wrong. This was the man who defeated a 14,000-foot demon, saved planets from impending destruction, and set fire to the demon kingdom of Lanka with just his tail. Along with his great valor and unwavering strength, he was kind-hearted. He carried a mountain. Got it. Thanks, Ishan. He carried a mountain miles across the ocean in order to transport a healing herb to his wounded soldiers, and regardless of how powerful he was, he never failed to treat everyone as an equal. My grandmother bought me a cool costume idea all the way from India. The plastic golden mace and bigtail inflamed me with pride. Now, I wonder here, this is just a little, and this is a technical, but before we even get into like further into this essay, is something going to go wrong here? I'm anticipating that's what usually happens in essays. But I wonder if there's a little inclusion that you've made, because already I'm liking the topic, Ishan. That something that could kind of, the cheesy version of this, like, little did I know how wrong this would go, or something, But let's see. My grandmother bought me a cool costume. The plastic golden mace and bigtail inflamed me with pride. To be able to display a cultural monument that many Indians love was exciting. I strutted the halls of my elementary school, eager to show everyone my cool costume. How could no one like it? Or so I thought. Okay, so it's this kind of thing. Could this go earlier? And that's going to be a good way to shorten it. And what I mean by this is the moment of like, dun, 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 right? Instead of getting praise, I got stares of confusion. Who's that weird monkey looking kid? Why is he wearing a skirt? Ooh, is that guy wearing jewelry? This is a great topic. The fierce fire of pride that was burning inside me simmered down into tiny embers, being tormented by insults of harsh weather. How could they not like my warrior skirt? How could they not like my princely jewelry? How could they not like my culture? Woo! Up-leveled. Nice. There are some tweaks that I'll suggest here later, but this is good up-leveling. The vanquisher of evil was now degraded to that weird monkey guy. Sadly, I did not dress up as Hanuman that year. I went as Batman, just like most. Oh my gosh, this breaks my heart. Love it. Like, structurally, I love it. The trend of following other people continued. Oh, raise the stakes. I shunned my culture and kept it restricted to my household where no one would mock me. This pernicious behavior of shutting off my culture broke off a special part of me. It took away, so I'd love to see here other examples of this. It took away what made me unique and made me into a traitor to thousands of years of civilization. So you're doing a lot of tell here, and I want to see the show first. So let me feel that stuff. I soon found myself simply adapting my characteristics to people based upon the crowd I was surrounded by. I celebrated other people's culture while ignoring my own. Okay. You may be able to trim this back and simplify it if your examples for this are clear and good enough. By that, I mean, this is all tell. Show a little bit before it. And you won't have to tell as much. You won't have to spell it out. Okay? And this, as ever, when I give this one note to one person, I'm giving it to everybody. Give me a specific example or two. And can you feel, those who are not Ishan, can you feel how like a nice example here of like other ways that you shun my culture? Other ways you shun your culture? Of shunning culture? Like, how did you hide yourself? You don't have to answer now, but that's, I think, would be nice to give us here. However, as I grew older, I started acknowledging some things. With the growing environment of hatred against immigrants and their new perspectives, only one thing seemed to keep people connected: culture. I'm a little trouble on that, like the connection. I'm having trouble make that connection. Seeing these immigrants proudly display their ways of life with such tenacity galvanized me to look more into my own. Okay, so I would cut this. And what moment or moments helped you make this transition? So, in terms of, Sean, this thing that you're saying, let's see. You feel like the realization comes too quickly? Yes, agree. What moments or experiences help shift your perspective, your point of view? Okay. So what's going to probably happen, and I'll map this out for you in a little bit, Ishan, is like when you get into the structure of this, I'm going to help you structure it. And then once you do that, you'll see how to cut this. And again, this is going to work for everybody. And for all of you guys who are writing this long Princeton or Harvard essay, write that one first, and then you can cut it. And by this, I mean like just, this is the longest supplemental essay you'll have to write, which is like 650 words on a totally different topic. I don't know of any topics that are, I think one school has like a 750 word essay, but it's about 650, right? So write it like this and then do what Ishan's doing here. To be a part of a culture that celebrates hundreds of languages and traditions and one that accepts every way of life and every form of belief is valid was overwhelming. Okay, so here's what we've done is, for the simple structure for this, I'm going to cut this because you got it above. The simple structure is 1, challenge. 2, what did I do about it? 3, what did I learn? Actually, let me not make them questions. Now, challenge. The challenge doesn't actually come until this, right? So this is all set up. Now, when you write your 250 word version, this is going to be super short. So this is like the actual challenge. Okay, I'm just going to mark this. The actual challenge comes here. Then we need, what did I do about it? In terms of what I did about it, it's kind of not here. What I did about it. I mean, there's the what I did about it first, which was like to deny certain parts of myself. That would, I would say, be more of like the parts of the effects. So the challenge and effects, what I did about it, TBA, and then 3, what I learned. Okay, so you see this part's kind of missing, and this is so important that I'm going to just say, check this out. Challenge is like 1/3 of the essay, 1/3 of the essay, and then another 1/3. Now you can apply this structure, Ishan, to the 650 words. From the 650 word, it's about 200 to 225 per section. The 250 word version, it's about 80 words per section. Right? So that's going to tell you how to cut. That will tell you how to cut this essay. I mean, I could stop right there because that's the answer to your question, Ishan, and you can go back and do this. But I want to go one step further, and I want to give you want to give you what I think would help us understand what you did about it. Okay. In here, give us a sense of what. So here, when you describe the effects, you don't have to say of what needs were going unmet. Now, what I mean by this, you don't need to say like, I felt a need for connection. Like, we get it. You can show this. Don't have to tell. But I say this because, what needs you were able to meet and how you met them. What I mean by this is like, how did you deal with this? And so let me look and see. You said you dealt with it. Let me look and see. Had a great awakening. Not only feel proud, without culture, there's no identity. Many of the great creations today, an American creating a show based on this, an aspiring entrepreneur, I see the value in taking influence from other cultures. I think you might end up cutting this, Ishan, because I think that what you learned is going to come more from what you did. And I don't know what you did yet. So good. So my question here is like, what helped you make your transition? Like, what did you do to come through this experience? Like, how did you deal with it? And in particular, what needs were you trying to fulfill? So I love that feelings and needs exercise because I feel like that's the key. As an aspiring entrepreneur, I see the value in taking influence from other cultures. That's part of the reason I want to attend blank, be part of a bastion of cultural mixing that may one day inspire me in a place where I can proudly dress up as Hanuman. Okay, this is nice. I like this part. This could segue to a YS, but actually Stanford and Yale don't have them. Yale's is super short. You won't even have time to do it. Okay, so see the feeling. So one thing you could do, do the feelings and needs exercise. That's in your pre-work exercise with this experience. Okay. This will come from the above exercise, I think. Okay. Does this help? What questions do you have? Sean and Ethan are like so close in writing. When I'm writing those two, I'm like, so let me know. And I'd love for someone else to paste essays here. Sam, while you're thinking about that, Ishan, because I think you are, I'm going to come back to Sam's question. And again, anybody can feel free to type questions underneath here. All right, urban. I always loved exploring cities, but didn't really grow up to appreciate the deeper details until I became interested in photography. After New York, where I learned what gentrification was, I realized it impacted the city I lived in as well. I became passionate about noticing the details of change in the city as well as the surface level. Cool. Images, towering cranes, bustling sidewalks, music on the corners. Yeah, yes, I love all this. And I think this one is going to come first. These are beautiful, Sam. I'd always loved exploring cities, but didn't really. And I would just say had. Note that I changed, because this would go kind of in your essay. Notice that I changed this word from have to had, and it could kind of work in your essay. When I was younger, my family would go to Cannon Beach, the Oregon coast. Family small family. At the time, I only appreciated being with family at the beach. Now, photographers allow me to look at the natural beauty with greater appreciation. Okay, get more specific with this. Love these. Yes to these. Even begin with, if you want, start with some of these. Or weave them in to the description of, the family stuff. Beautiful. Yes, this is going to work beautifully. Right. Okay. Ishan, tell me more. I'd love to hear, does this help answer your questions? Let me know. I'll just paste this question in the chat box in case you didn't see it on the doc. Which part? The ones highlighted. So first of all, what I'd say is, but which part is highlighted? I'm sorry, I'm not, which part that's highlighted? I think most of it will get rewritten. So, so for the opening, for the challenges, effects, trim to 250 words, the part before what I did about it. Don't even do that first though. For what I did about it, do the feelings and needs exercise. You know what I'm talking about there? And then what I learned, same. Feelings and needs. Okay, try it. And pause the video and take your time and see what you discover. Okay, don't try to keep up with me in the video. Once you can tap into the deeper need or needs, the essay will get deep. I promise. A lot more to write about. See what I did. You can do it now. And let me know in a bit how it goes. Okay? All right. So what other questions? I don't see any other questions on the doc right now. What other questions or essays? Or essays do you want me to look at? What would be most helpful? I mean, I've got all kinds of sample essays that I can analyze and be like, here's why I think this essay is good, but I'd rather do it specific to somebody dealing with a particular thing. So let me know. I will stand by. Type them in the chat box or just paste them on there. If you are being quiet, that's okay. How can I help? Or do you just need time to write? Because it could be that you have all the information you need, you actually just need to have time to write. And giving you more content isn't actually going to necessarily be useful. It needs to be targeted to a particular thing. Yeah. Pausing. We can, if you just need time to write, if you were to use this next hour and a half to just work on your essays, that's a great way to spend this time. And we can call it, or I can like mute my mic, and, you could let me know in the next little while. In fact, maybe that's what we should do. It's kind of like a working study hall style thing. Cool. Thanks, Sam. Do it. Yeah, those are beautiful images. I love them. Rachel's typing a draft. Thank you for checking in. Can you each check in with me real quick? Let me know where you're at. Sam, writing. Rachel, writing. Sean, writing. That leaves 4 of you, I think. What are you guys up to? Matt, writing. Anything I can do to help? Just need to write. John, looking through writing prompts. Want to do this in the small group? The other thing, guys, if there's stuff that you're feeling like shy about, and if nobody has anything that they're willing to like discuss in the small group, is we could break this into like mini sessions. Yeah, answer them in a group, John, if that's what you're willing to do. We can also just break this into like mini sessions where I can be like, hey, I'm going to go meet with so-and-so, and then I'm going to come back. And if that's a way that you would prefer to work, and I can just go into a mini session and then come back. But I think that we learn so much from each other by doing it in the with other people. Matt, I'll talk about use Chicago prompts. In like 48 hours. Okay. I need a few minutes to synthesize them. I'm going to come back with like some examples. I've got a couple different examples, and I'll talk to you about a way to approach those. Kevin, what type of essays? Peyton, what's up? Good to see you. There you go. Personal statement. Kevin, what type of personal statement essays? I've got so many. I've got like dozens and dozens in my head. What are you working on right now? Because I want to make it specific to you, because that's still going to be useful to other people. What do you have so far? All good. Lars is on his way home. Cool, no worries. Montage ones, it probably doesn't narrow it down. It narrows it down some. Great montage essays. Here, let me give you a link to a bunch, and then you tell me which one you want to look at. So everybody has this. So in your Google Drive, go to, just search the word awesome. Well, I'll just paste the link. In your Google Drive, though, when you search the word awesome, you'll have this folder of awesome supplemental essay, or not, sorry, just awesome personal statement essays. Okay. So it's called Awesome Sample Supplemental Essays. But the first doc in the sample supplemental essays is personal statements. Okay. So this is great sample personal statements from the last couple of years. Check out these. Ooh, great question. Okay. Are there any montage essays that focus on a specific object and how it relates to a person? Great. I'm just going to paste these on the doc, guys, so that we'll track them. And then here, cool. Are there any, Matt asks, okay, sorry, I'm just going to track these questions so we'll have a record of them. And then Kevin asks, you might go ahead and look on that doc. You might find them sooner than I do. Here are some great sample personal statements. Have you been through this folder, Matt? Not Matt, sorry, Kevin, just curious. I mean, Kevin, we have a pretty good outline for you. Like, I think you just need to like start like trying stuff. I don't know that, I don't know. I think you should just start trying stuff based on what you've skimmed it. Based on what we've, I don't know that you're going to find a thing. Maybe we can find a thing together. Are you looking to find like a particular TED talk? Let me see if I can help you. So let me see if I can find, are there ones people dealing with a particular question? Yeah, here's one. This one is, what does home mean to me? Okay. So, yes, the essay that begins in the folder above asks, what does home mean to me? Read that one, Kevin. Matt, are there any montage essays that focus on a specific object and how it relates to a person? Yeah, here's poop. Matt. Yes. Read in folder above. That one is a good one. That's a trampoline essay that jumps around a lot of different things. I mean, a lot of these kind of have a question, like what is, even though it's not necessarily explicit. Yeah, lists. And here's another one, Matt. Or that's another one. Notice that the trampolines, both are trampolines. Other topics. What I mean by that is like it starts about one thing and then it bounces to something else. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through these transformers and I love these essays. That's Adrian's essay. That's a challenges one. This largely deals with like how have the contrasts in my world shaped who I am. I'm just scrolling through to see if I can find either an object or one that raises a bigger question. Yeah, I mean, this is like, how have superpowers shaped me? Or asks, how have superpowers shaped my life? Does that one feel good? Okay, cool. Notice, Matt, here's the problem. Here's how that was written. Is that she started and wanted it to be like she wanted this to be, I'll just say that, I'll say to you, she wanted it to be all in lists, but A, ran out of stuff to say, so needed to find something else. And B, wanted to work in some other parts of herself. So the transition to words, in language helped facilitate that. It like zoomed back in a way and gave it a broader lens. Okay. Kevin's asking, what is the so what of the what is home to me essay? It may not have one, Kevin. There, some essays don't. Here it is. My home is a dynamic and eclectic entity. That's my answer, Kevin. What about this? That to me is the so what. Yeah, that to me is a so what, and I think it's a pretty good so what. Like I'm satisfied by that when I read that. Let me just share with you what I'm looking at so you can see where I'm scrolling, because I think that'll be more interesting and useful. Let's see. I'm going to just see if I can find a couple more. So yeah, Matt, just to go back to what you were saying, like if you want to jump to something else, feel free. And when you jump to something that's a little broader, it gives a little more latitude. That's what essentially, Sam, if you're still there, like that's what you're doing, is like you're jumping from one thing to another. This one, obviously, Kevin sets up the question at the start in a very explicit way, and that creates the theme for the whole essay. But essentially, Kevin, if you want to do that, just ask a question you can't answer right now. Yes, Kevin, try that. You don't need to get this perfect. In fact, I think your personality type is a J. Are you a J on the Myers-Briggs? I think you are, Kevin, which means that you want to like figure it out and make the decision first and then act. I don't know, maybe you're not, but yeah, just try stuff. That's my advice. Okay, that's like the first thing I said to you. Okay, what other questions? Okay. Say more. How can I help? Or do you just need to try stuff? Anybody else paste any essays? Not yet. Okay. Cool. What else we got? Just making sure I didn't miss any questions. I'm gonna, because we don't have any other questions right now, hiking. Gosh, I love this hiking essay. It's gonna be featured in my next book. Good, Kevin, go write. That's probably what you need to do. You probably don't need, you remind me of my friend Andrea. You probably just need to write stuff. Feel free to turn the volume down on me. Right. Okay. So I love this hiking essay. This is another one that kind of jumps around in space and time as a montage. Yeah, this question asks, what does it mean to, have roots and permanence? It's an implied question, but it's there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these essays have an implied question at the start. In this case, and I think you found what you're looking for, Matt, but like this begins with the quote unquote object of the maze. Okay, I'll stop answering this question because I think I've already answered. And I think both of you have moved forward to like the next step of what you want to or need to do. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this doc and I'm going to say what Nishan said. Okay. questions or essays to look at. Type or paste them here. I'm happy. I've done courses like this before where we just basically treated it like an open study hall, and students were writing and they were like asking me for questions when they, when they had questions. We can do that too. I hope you're not just sitting there like staring at me. I hope you're working on stuff. John, let me know if I can help with where you're at. I know that you were just collecting the prompts, and I'd love to, if you're open to doing it in this setting, talking about what prompts can go where. So let me know. Let me know I can help. And who is this anonymous tiger typing? Oh, this is Peyton. Yeah, get personal and get vulnerable. Keep going. So avoid telling us what we should do or one should do. So essentially, what did you learn? But not like, why is it valuable on like a universal sense? Like, here's what we can learn from my life. It's sort of like, what did you learn? And we'll, we can take lessons from that. But there's not a formula for endings. I would say, yes, there is. Sorry. End specifically rather than generally. Take a look at some of the sample essays. Here. Look at some of the endings here, Peyton. One of them might inspire you. Read some of those endings. What else? Or who else? I think somebody might have. Will you do me a favor and just grab all that stuff, Ishan, and like edit that on your doc? That would be awesome. Because it might, as you're writing and shifting, it would like, just go ahead and edit that, and then if you want, put it back. Matt, let me know how I can help. Sounds good. Oops, there we go. So I'm going to transition this into like a working study hall, which means I'm going to keep the line open for the next hour. And I'm assuming that you're working. I think a lot of you are. But I'm just going to I'm going to take a bathroom break, so a mini bio break. And I'll just write this at the top, we're making this a working study hall / open office hours with Ethan. Right? and work on action items, email me or message me if you need some action items, and let me know when you have a question. In the meantime, I'll be working as well. Okay, so I'm here. You're my priority, but while there aren't questions, rather than sit here and look at you guys, I'll just go ahead and I'll answer a couple emails, probably from you. Okay, so for now, for the next let's take a 5-minute break. At least that's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to just take away my audio and video. Okay, we're back. Ishan, thank you for posting an edit. Did you do the feelings and needs exercise? That would be really fast for you to do that exercise, synthesize it, have deep realizations about your life, and then edit the feelings and needs. So, because what's missing from small edit, I think it's going to like affect just one paragraph. I think you're assuming that everything above it is okay. And I actually think that you might make realizations about the needs you're trying to fulfill on a deeper level that could change the whole essay. Okay. So again, I'm going to suggest that you go back and do that and dig deeper into that exercise, because I feel like once we can identify what the needs were that you were trying to fulfill, like, was it a need for, there are so many, contribution, for being seen and heard. And I don't know enough about you to like, be able to theorize like what I think this is, but it's like a therapy question that I'm asking you. So rather than tweaking and like editing, I want to know, what are the deeper needs that you were trying to fulfill? Okay. So let me know if you did the feelings and needs exercise. All right, let's see. Oh, hi, Ray. It's great to see you. We just transitioned to just like opening up. Awesome. I'd love to read a link, doc. Here we go. It's yay. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you're just joining us, we've transitioned this into a kind of like open working study hall. If you've got questions or essays, feel free to paste them on the doc. There's a link right there. I think, Ray, you're going to paste something. I'm excited. And let me make sure that I haven't missed anything from anybody. Let's see. Got a question out to Ishan. I think other people are working. think I've got everybody else's. Ray, paste on the doc. I think you're probably going into your documents. And John, let me know where you're at, because you know, I would love to help you map these things out if you're open to it. If you're wanting to not do that publicly, I get it. But it looks like you've got most of the prompts. You know, actually, you don't have my question. Put these in. This is a YS, just so you know. Okay. Ray, are you going to paste an essay? Do you need help? I'd love to see it. View only? No, it's not. You know, it shouldn't be. It's not. Good. Good to hear, John. Great. Keep doing it. Ray, refresh. It shouldn't be. I'll share it directly with you just to make sure. And if that doesn't work, then yeah, you should be good. I just want you to have like editing privileges because I want to be able to like write back and forth with you on the doc. Okay. Well, go for it. Refresh if you have to. You should be good. Cool, John, I'm glad you're working. Keep on. Keep keeping on. There you are. All right, Ray, let's do this. All good. All right. All right, cool. Sweet. Here we go. All right. I'm going to read this aloud, Rachel, in front of this crowd of millions. No, actually, 7 people. And most of them are writing and working on their essays. If you feel like tuning in, feel free. Otherwise, Ray and I are just going to jam here for a bit. I'm an explorer at heart. Growing up at 10 West Deerhaven, where the blooming treetops allowed the entire neighborhood to shy away from the prying cameras of Google Earth, it was hard not to be. I love that. It's so good. Set a few miles back from the typical hustle of suburban life by 2 bridges and a few more miles away from the rush of New York City by a winding road. Do you hear the way even the sentences are winding? Did you do that on purpose? I grew up in my own kingdom. My subjects, my siblings, my palace, my swing set, my throne, a rock placed haphazardly by some developers at the foot of my driveway. Yes. Okay. At some point, not long after the creek was determined warm enough to swim in, and the last traces of ice and snow were wiped from our lawns, we sat inside my living room and watched rain pour down on our village. Now, what you might find is that the long sentences start to feel like now they're kind of the same length. So this, and then this is a long sentence, and then you've got another long sentence. So one of the things to shake it up is like, you know, just short sentences to break it up. I know that sounds super basic for you, but it's something that I've learned that helps give an essay what we call style or tone. Okay. We donned our raincoats, rain boots, and goggles and set off, much to the protest of our parents, to examine the damage done to the drawbridges. By the time we arrived at the bottom of our mountain, feet soaked and goosebumps rising along our forearms, we knew our kingdom was in danger. Not only had our moat overflown, but the rising current had torn the first bridge from its foundation, carrying it off so that it was out of reach. Now, when someone spends this much detail, this much time on such a specific story, It better be a metaphor, just because. And this is my bias, right? Is that like because these essays are so short, this is a lot to devote to just this one thing. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for and curious about. We sat at the edge of the floodwater, my sister being the first to talk. How deep do you think it is? Higher than our boots, my friend responded. I can't see the bottom. I turned to my court, those relying on me, and grabbed a branch off a nearby tree. As it had lay under a canopy of leaves, it had evaded the rainwater and remained dry. I motioned as if I were parting the Red Sea, poking into the water and watching as the current lapped up against the dry wood. Now, because there's so many details, a little part of me reads this. So the reader in me is going like, okay, cool. I'm in. You know, okay, cool. Like, is patient. But a little part of me, and this is the omissions part of the reader, is reading this going, okay, what are you going to contribute to our campus? Now, that means I'm getting a little impatient. Like, and by that I mean, I'm not saying that you need to like, you know, do something with this. I'm just letting you know that like, because there's so many details, like the first details give me all kinds of qualities about you and tell me about where you're from. This is not as, say, you know, loaded and impactful as the first, packed full of like details and images, and as the first one is, or they're kind of repeating a little bit. Pulling it out, we used a rock to mark the bark as a notation of the highest point the river had reached. Planning to return it to our parents as proof of our success on our journey, we also grabbed a cup of floodwater for later examination. Okay, so we grabbed a cup of floodwater for later examination. This hints at another value. Okay, great. Yes. Thank you. That's the shorter way of saying what I was trying to say to you. Returning home, lugging ourselves to the mountain, I started to wonder about the floodwater that's both trapping us and protecting us from outside invasion. Returning to my room, I unwrapped the microscope I'd carefully hidden. Yep, you got it. I took a new slide from the package, careful not to break it. Placing a cover, I started to twist the lens and examining the threat. Under the glaring light, I saw spots and dots, far more than what was expected to be uncovered in a clear glass of water. I was quick to call in my court to consider my discovery, taking notes, recording the findings for future reference. Yep. We took turns with the microscope, counting off the shapes and drawing pictures of our data. Cool. We tore bark off our measurement branch, observing the shape and fibers of the wood. Such a great example, and you can do this in a paragraph. Like, much shorter, like, I want you to do this in however long the first paragraph is. So this is 413 words. I want you to do it in 140 words. Okay. Like maybe 140 words. Longing to explore that follows my every step. The longing to explore that follows my every step has pushed me from lab to lab in search of answers. Cool transition. I love it. I'm just, whoops. This is a cool, so this is the inciting incident. Okay. So, okay, I want to just highlight this, right? Because I feel like it's the 1/3 point of the essay. And by this, I mean like it's the inciting incident. It's the moment that launches us. Oh, cool. How have you done this? So like, here's a cool early example. And I'll put this back for you. But it's just the first example. Instead of searching in the water that eroded our roads and pushed our bridges, I searched in creatures who are missing water, creatures that have survived desiccation by turning their cells to glass. Armed with RT-PCR instead of a stick of wood and large dissecting microscopes instead of the small primitive one, I observed the genes that have allowed certain species to survive a threat that is believed to make life unsustainable. Now, this is fine, but you're doing the very fast version because you didn't have much space. And I think that you can actually spread this out. So I like this transition, but I think that you could do one paragraph on here's how I've done this thing. And I love how you say lab to lab. So could you potentially do, you know, last summer, for example, you know, like lab 1, studied X, new paragraph. This summer, I studied, you know, or like 2 summers ago, you see what I'm doing? Is like expand on this because I'd love to see like what you've done in each of those. Last summer, and that because I'm looking forward to look back. Last summer I studied in a different lab, blah 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 blah. Due to the nature of this, such transfers to genetic expression are possible. In the farthest smartest kingdoms, science will always be magic to me. Okay, I want to hear more. So you see what I'm saying, right? And it's a big, it's like, I want you to go like this with that first 2/3. And I love this transition sentence. And I want to know, and it doesn't have to be like a montage of labs, but it's kind of cool. And I want to know how that, like how that magic, how this theme of magic like weaves its way through this, and like what you would have to say about that. Now, you can tweak this transition, right? This bold sentence doesn't have to be exactly, but it could be that it goes lab to lab and then somewhere else. So like, place TBA, like where's another place? So maybe you do like a short one on this lab, or maybe you make this, the same paragraph, and then you trampoline to something else. Okay, but I want to hear less about what happened when you were 8. And more about what you've done in the last few years. Okay, what questions do you have? Put them at the bottom. And it may take 10 seconds to hear the rest of what I said. Ishan, I'll get right back to you on the feelings exercise. So actually, what did you discover? What needs were you trying to fulfill? Awesome. Cool. So Ishan, I'm happy to continue talking with you about this. I'd love to know, what are the needs that you found that you were trying to fulfill? Because I think that's what makes the essay, so to speak, deep. John, feel free to paste type or paste answers into the bottom of the doc. If you've just joined us, welcome. This is got Working Study Hall. Let me try this. I'm going to sound like if you've just joined us, welcome. Welcome. This is a Working Study Hall. Oops. / open office hours. All right, Sam, cool. Don't worry about cutting it down. You're going to have more to write. Sam says this. I'm telling you this already. And there's still New York to read about. Here, let's take a look. I see the first pictures ever taken with my camera, a distant reminder of my entry into my passion, as well as the nature of my childhood. Every summer, my extended family and I would travel to Cannon Beach, Oregon. I like that opening a little bit better. You might cut this. Do you need this? Every summer, my extended, because it kind of sets up, this is going to be an essay about photographs. It might be a little bit too kind of, you know, like English essay. SAE. Okay. Every summer, my extended family and I would travel to Cannon Beach, Oregon, where we would spend a few days enjoying the unbounded summer sun. While haystack rocks, algae, reflecting a sickly green hue, complementing the warm, coarse sand along the Pacific wherever present, I only knew at the time that the beach represented fun and family. But after realizing my interest in photography, I began to look at my place in the Pacific Northwest through a literal different lens. My camera allowed me to look past the face value of the rhythmic crashing of the waves and the seemingly endless trails of foot and paw prints. I realized my role within the Pacific Northwest community was to document what I saw as natural beauty before the dangers of climate change permanently damaged the endless artistic potential. I like where this is going, Sam. It's happening. Praise hands. I see my string of necklaces of beads and name tags, each one representing the memories from a youth group event. Through my involvement in Nifty Northwest and TSY, my interest in photography has evolved from only looking at the details of my community into wanting to assist the community through art. Cool. I see memories. So I get a little bit lost in there, but it's okay. Like, I like what you're doing. I see memories of each Havdalah service, a spiral of smiling faces illuminating in the warm glow of a single candle. Hands interlocked as a simple kiss on the cheek is passed around the circle. While my camera lacks the ability to capture the ageless melodies of the prayers sung by the one voice of the room, the feeling of community, my community, is clearly evident in each photo. As regional photographer, the responsibility to capture each moment of my second home allowed me to further realize the meaning of my own culture through seeing, now you said this, further realize the meaning of my own culture. Great, say more, please. What is the meaning of my own culture? That's a big thing to say. My place in the community is held through making a place for others to enjoy as well. How did you do this? Love to hear more. I see the pictures that originally inspired me to pursue an interest in photography, the ones exploring the details of the city that has shaped me. Growing up outside Seattle, I often yearned to venture into the city, armed with my camera for the first time, my newfound knowledge of exposure and shutter speed, unable to precisely capture the beauty of the architecture of urbanity. So one thing that you'll notice here, and Sam, it's an early draft, so I'm not like, you're doing it wrong, but this exercise that I mentioned, either on last session or one before it, of like the finding using that, like revising your essay in 5 steps exercise here. Revising essay in 5 steps. Here it is. Okay, so take a look at this, Sam. This might help you with when you're restructuring this. Okay. So 1, take a look at this exercise really quick. You see how this might help you revise? So read that, Sam, while I'm looking through the rest of this. I often yearned to venture into the city, armed with my camera, my newfound knowledge of exposure and shutter speed, unable to precisely capture the beauty of the architecture of urbanity. Later, once learning about the horror of gentrification, I began to look at my city through a different lens. Instead of saying, I think this needs to be revealed. I think, show us first, then reveal this. Instead of seeing the excitement of growth, I began to focus more on cranes flooding the skyline, building up amenities for a new wave of citizens, and sweeping away the culture that had only recently grown to fully appreciate. The easygoing vibe of the passers-by was being replaced by constantly rushing business people, their hustle and bustle drowning out the noise I only now appreciate. Instead of choosing to accept the changes afflicted upon my city, I decided that I would investigate the changes within my urban community. I researched the growth of the city for my junior year research paper, brought on by the powerhouse companies that made Seattle their home, and looked for the evidence of change in a photojournalism project. So this might be a separate thing. Through my interaction with this, I began to realize that I had a place in this urban community along with everyone else, and it was my duty to bring positivity rather than destruction. But you weren't bringing destruction, were you? Okay, so my note here is that I'm a little uncertain what you want us to get about you in here. Now, the notes are not, I'm not going to give you notes about like structure and details cutting. It's bigger picture, like outline and content stuff, Sam. Okay. So, second thing, use this draft, and this is pretty much for everybody, to figure out a new outline. I'm just going to shut the light because it's bright. One sec. Okay. So, first of all, Sam, this is going to work. That's what I'm excited about. And how I know it's going to work is like this kind of stuff. Images. Yes. This. Yes. Like, we're not going to get bored and tired of this. We're going to see like, wow, look at this sensitive soul, you know, in the images. One of the reasons I think I'm a little bit disconnected is I'm unclear what the images are, you know, in this one. And the images from this one, you know, come a little bit later. I like what you're doing here. I'm a little bit unclear about the turn in terms of what you realized. Like, that's why I'm like, say more, because I feel like as you figure out what your role in that community is, remember that this essay is about, according to what we've discussed previously, like how, like what photography has taught me about my relationship to my communities. And let's just say that. So like there's this, and look how clear this is. Boom. So clear. Okay. So Anonymous Tiger, if that's you, Sam, like, boom. Can we do that a couple more times? And by we, I mean, can you do that a couple more times? Feel free to reply below this, Sam. Like, do you see how that's so clear and good? And like, oh, bam. This is such a clear transition. But after realizing my interest in photography, this is why, like, this sentence is why you don't need that opening. The first, you know, line above. Because you give us the lens for the essay. Now, I'm gonna do this, Sam. So in the spirit of that, revising your essay in 5 steps, this is a first sentence that is going to kind of give us the twists and turns of the essay. Okay. Now, so what I'm going to ask you to do is, rather than do separate paragraphs, I'm going to ask you to consider what are the twists and turns you want to take us on. Now, just thinking about those may not help you write this essay. I think what you'll need to do, Sam, is zoom back and go, okay, what is my place in the community here? Did photography help me find it or not? Because it may not be. Like, it may be that photography, like, maybe this is like too tight of a focusing lens. Like, this is pretty broad. It's not necessarily about how my relationship to photography has like changed the way that I relate to my world. It's just like, what about these images? I'm trying not to write it for you and like lead you too heavily, but I want you to come back to this. You know, can you come back to this in examples 2 and 3? Okay. Sounds good. You're so awesome, Sam. You're like, so it's just like, yep. Cool. Okay. So Ethan's suggestions. 1. But first of all, let me give some more love Love the images you're using. I think a couple more might help, especially in the gentrification part. I know you know that. I don't know. Ethan suggests, so once you do that, you know, zoom back and figure out what you want to say in the what I mean by this, by like use this draft for your new outline. In other words, don't be married to anything in this one. In the Seattle, okay. Once you figure out these, and it may take more writing, then you can use that revising exercise linked above. Okay. You know, you want to be efficient in paragraphs, I'll say examples 1 through 3, because New York is likely to be example 4, you know, experience TBA. But like you've got, your sensitive soul is so clear, and it's really just a matter of like figuring out what you want to say. Awesome. Sean, are you still there? Let me see if you've written new stuff. My sense is I want to help you with it, but I want to help you on a deeper level with it, Sean. I like the opening. I think you're going to probably end up shortening it, but I don't want you to focus on shortening that yet. I want to focus on figuring out what was the deeper thing you were trying, because that's going to help you expand that middle section. So let me know. So I'll feel free to anybody, obviously, questions or essays, type them here. Cool. You done? Yeah. Yes, love that. Italics is super clear. No. It's good. It feels very awkward. Give me an example. Like, an example is like, hi, I said. Did I really just say hi? How are things? You could do this like this. How are things? Seriously? What am I doing here? Hi, I said. Did I really just say hi? How are things? How are things? Seriously? What am I doing here? Like, that's kind of the inner voice. That makes sense? I think it'll be fine. If it's awkward, we'll try something else. Or parentheses. Parentheses is okay. I think italics better than parentheses. If you want to put an example, feel free. Okay, cool. Cormac McCarthy does this, something like it. Got it. Yes, please. Okay. So, Ishan, let's pause on this. Yes. Love it. Paste them in. Ishan, I'd love to have that conversation with you. And what I'd say is I want you to work broadly, like around, just curious, did you see the short answers module? I'd love for you to, as much as you can, work through some of these parts of the course, of both courses, so that when we meet, in that epic session, we'll be able to kind of map things out. So just curious, did you see the short answers module? Let me know. Okay. So some of the advice that I may give you is gonna, that's okay. It just may be redundant. It may just be redundant. Go watch those tonight. Okay. So 0 to 1, Peter Thiel, it'll depend on, yeah, that's fine. It'll depend on, I need to kind of see the rest of your application to know like what's coming through. Yes, say why. And you can be briefly, if it's not already clear. I'd try something else. This is like, I would say it's kind of typical for like a business, someone who's interested in business. C course. Avoid top 50 adjectives. I know that businessy isn't that, but it's not really revealing something new about you. Like we get business here. Like business, super clear from this. Like we get that you're an entrepreneur. Now you've got a chance to do other things, They won't click on this. So again, use the space. I would say briefly why. Because otherwise, I don't know that it's going to mean as much to them. Again, same thing. You don't have to say why for all of these. Paprika, it's just a fun word. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's something more. Say briefly why. It's more than just because it sounds cool. Happiness can be found in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. It's fine. I don't know if it's going to, I mean, this might be somewhat common. It's kind of a play on the, what is the quote about the candle? It's like, in order to overcome the darkness, we need light, only one candle. So I don't know that this is going to reveal something hugely deep. I would say watch the examples. Check out the examples on the course. And look what I say about Advent calendars. Each one is a little peer into your soul. Okay. 5 words to describe you: startup guy, muscle man, chill. These are okay. Startup guy. I like startup guy. Muscle man. Other options? See examples on course. Interest, what do you read? Read, Think and Grow Rich, Lose My Virginity, Richard Branson, Forbes Magazine. So do you see how these are all business all the time? It's not bad, per se, just a bit. It's not as much variety as maybe you could have. I'm not saying, I mean, it's a tricky balance, right? Because you want to be authentic and honest. This is me. This is great. Love it. Great. Shows personality. Is there another version of this that would show this, like, in a different way? I mean, maybe this is true and you want to leave it. So authenticity trumps variety. But here the balance is authenticity. So like these are the actual things and variety. And my theme songs. Okay. Yeah, check out here. Let me give you some more examples. In your awesome sample supplemental essays folder. Not saying that these are right. It just might inspire you to go some, to give it a little bit more range. Okay, so examples are here. I'm glad you're sharing these, Ishan. And deeper values revealed. Deeper values revealed. So one of the things, Deshaun, that I'll say about this, that I say on the thing, is can you reveal deeper values? And this is for anybody who's writing these short answers. John, for you, for Stanford, like, can you reveal deeper values with these different things? Yes, part of it is revealing your personality. That's great. But what else can we learn about you? Okay. Let me know if you have questions. And feel free to share drafts of the other Stanford ones if you have them. Oh, cool. Ray's already hard at work. Ray's already hard at work. Okay, cool. Love it. Okay, I like this part. At some point, no longer up to the creek was determined warm enough to swim in, and the last traces of ice and snow were wiped from land. So hang on a second. I'm like jumping ahead. Sean, let me know if you have questions. Yeah, just type them there if you got a question, Sean. But take a look at those examples. And tonight, watch the course module on that. Okay. Rachel's essay. Okay, group of my own kingdom, love it, clear. At some point, no longer the creek was determined warm enough to swim in, and the last traces of ice and snow were wiped from our lawns. We knew our kingdom was in danger. Watching as rain poured down, our drawbridges were shaken loose from their foundation due to rising water. We began our journey down the mountain. Standing at the point where the dark pavement turned to darker water, I grabbed a dry branch off a nearby tree, the wind fighting against my pull. I motioned as if I still feel like it's a little bit long getting into it. Poking into the water and watching as the current rose and fell. Pulling it out, we used a rock to mark the bark. Like, if this was a novel, like, this would be awesome. But I think what you did is, like, you deleted a little bit, but, like, I think you might need to, like, kind of rewrite, like, be like, okay, how do I, in this paragraph, like, get to the thing that, you know, I'm wanting to get to a little bit faster. After the slow trip home, okay, so we waited the wood we were carrying. I ran into my room, unwrapped the microscope, placing a drop of water on a new slide. I began to adjust. Might still be a little long, I'll just say. Unwrap the microscope, placing a drop of water. This. Like, this feels like the next moment. So it feels like this is really just set up for this. The longing to explore that follows my every step. So this is a little bit of a garden path sentence. Could you tweak this for clarity? Instead of searching in the water that eroded our roads and pushed the birds, I search in creatures who are missing water. Creatures that have survived desiccation by turning their cells to glass. Armed with this, instead of a stick of wood and large dissecting microscopes, instead of the small primitive one in my childhood bedroom, I observe the genes that have allowed certain species to survive a threat that is believed to make life unsustainable. Labeled this by both this and a piece of tape adorning a test tube, we coat gold nanoparticles in solution and bombard this. Due to the nature of this, as long as this is done correctly, such transfers are possible. So what is what I wonder at the end of this? I travel far and wide to the largest of kingdoms, taking the totally strenuous ride in New York City once a week to intern at Columbia. I work with researchers to help uncode the genetics base. So because this kind of like gets into the nitty gritty, I think what I'm losing a little bit, and part of this is, I think, rather than you got into the specifics of like just going in, I'm losing a little bit like what is the overall arc of this essay? Like, what journey are you taking us on? Like, you're such a great storyteller, and I love your details and I love your writing, but I get a little bit lost now that, admittedly, I've told you to kind of hack away at this middle of this essay of what journey you're taking us on. I travel far and wide to the largest of kingdoms, taking the totally strenuous ride, and I love that you include this. So I'm loving this inclusion. I just get a bit lost on what the overall journey is. Amazing. But how does it connect back? I travel near and far, sitting with my mother at our kitchen table, analyzing psychological statistics to aid in making treatment more efficient in her clinic. Whoa. I laugh at her when she misspells words, and she laughs at me for not knowing the difference between affective disorders and depression. Oh my gosh, this is so good. In the farthest and widest kingdoms, science will always be magic to me. Whoa. God. This is amazing. Like, this is the problem with the quote unquote problem with your writing. is you'll come up with something like this, Rachel, and I'm like, what do you do with that? Like that needs to be in there somewhere. That sounds amazing, but I don't know where it fits into this essay because, again, I want to zoom back and be like, I'm not sure what the twists and turns. But I love this. I mean, I love because again, it's like it's your connection to family. It shows the world you're in, like the waters you're swimming in, literally and figuratively. Um, oh man. Okay. Do you see me asking you these questions that like there's a bigger thing to figure out before we figure out like how to get into these details? Let me know if you hear me say that, Rachel. Um, did you get me my point that I'm not sure the journey you're taking us on? Like it starts off about being magical and then something else happens and something else. But I feel like it's wandering a little bit. Still finding, what it wants to say. And again, I don't need to keep affirming you like this. I enjoy hearing you say, but what do I want to say? So part of me wants to say like, go back and like go back to where the path was. Yes to the topic. Because it A shows you as a kid in your world and like and B sets up for your sets up for some of your activities. So you don't need to like, hit the things over the head. You're kind of giving us some stuff we wouldn't normally get. Like the mom details. So good. Does it say about family and science? Like keep the first paragraph. Cool. So Kevin, yeah, paste it at the bottom. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. This is an iterative process. Keep iterating. Okay. Kevin, let me read what you've got. I'm not going to read it aloud because I don't need to and because other people may be writing. But I'm just going to read this right here, what you've written. Thanks. I'm going to read it and I'll let you know when I get to the end. Let me just, if anybody's like wondering what the heck's going on, why is it so quiet? I'm going to be like, why did you join us so late? Okay, so Kevin, I'm not sure that empathy is going to be the strongest focusing lens because it's kind of like, yes, it's already like, yes, of course. And so I don't know that it's going to be like, feel like an insight. So I don't know that I would recommend this one. Also with the opening, and I mentioned this in the last session, I think, but anytime someone's writing about like encountering a homeless person, it's just not it's a cliche of college essays and not a strong opener, I feel like. Even though it might have been impactful as a kid, what it mostly shows is like privilege. Um, you know, so yeah, I don't know if it's the strongest opening. I don't know if it's the strongest focusing lens. I really liked the TED Talks idea of, using that as a montage. I think maybe, Kevin, what you're trying to do is do like a narrative, and I would recommend the montage style. You're trying to kind of come up with a question and a challenge, like, for example, Danny's essay. But I think, it might be because you want to you think that, you're moved by that. But I would love to see just different sides of you and be playful and fun and humorous. And so, again, I kind of come back to that exercise of like that table where it's like, here are the qualities I want to show, and here are the different examples, and like, here are the insights that I've been able to come up with. And I can see already that I'm gonna need to push you on the insight thing, is the so what. Because yes, we need to be empathetic, but so what? What? Yeah, like, keep going. We are all just human. Yeah. So what? What? There's a what? There's a so what beyond that? I'm not saying literally like tackle this. I think I'm gonna encourage you to go back and find I think you're gonna need a different focusing lens other than empathy. Does that mean you have to start over? Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my suggestion, because I'm not seeing anything in this. Like, I like the TED Talks idea. I don't think this is going to necessarily work with the homeless guy. Humans of New York has become pretty popular, honestly. It's a lot of people write about Humans of New York. And so unless you like co-founded it, it's something that's popping up a lot. So, and I think I said this, but I'll say it again. Like, I don't think a value is a strong focusing lens unless it's very, very specific. Or take the opposite of one. Like, when must we not be empathetic? Like, that's interesting. That's an essay that I haven't read. So, Ishan, we can meet anytime you want. You have my link, I think. So feel free to line it to email me, and I'll just, Ishan, just resend you that link. Okay. So that's what I got, Kevin. I hope that doesn't feel too disheartening. All right, we've got a few minutes left, and what questions are looming? And Kevin, maybe you have questions before we sign off for the evening. And by the way, it could mean, Kevin, meeting with your coach and like just batting ideas around for an hour and a half. And so that's, try that. That's another possibility. That's another possibility. Okay. Nothing is popping right now. And yes, Sean, the Calendly one. Back to the drawing board. Yeah, thanks for trying. I'm just not sure that it's just so hard to, I've never seen a value work. I mean, I guess in the 5 families essay, adaptability kind of works, but it's show, and then at the end, the value is revealed. It's like, that's connecting everything. Or in the Dantics essay, I guess you could argue that like details, being detail focused, is the focusing lens, or the common value that kind of links everything. But the specifics are really what carry that and keep us interested and engaged. It doesn't seem to be about detail focused. That's kind of buried in the middle of it. Okay, friends, good to talk to you. I am feeling, how do I feel? I feel productive. I feel like I've been playing basketball, and I'm kind of like, I've left it all out on the court today. So yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my daughter for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go have an amazing meal. I don't know what I'm gonna eat, but I'm getting hungry. So email me if you got questions. If you got essay questions, feel free. Feel free to sign on for the lively large session, which is tomorrow. That's always interesting. And then Ishan, feel free to email me, and we'll find a time to meet. And much love and much luck. Happy writing. Go to it. See you soon.